Shelton and Aryna Sabalenka both weigh in on the huge story coming out of New York. Jelena Ostapenko confronts Taylor Townsend after the match. Let's discuss. I'm Good Energy. Welcome to Tennis in a Minute. As always, my coverage is brought to you via the Doctrine of Fair Use, the Fair Dealing, and the Digital Millennium Act. That's right, guys. Yesterday, after a straight set defeat, Jelena Ostapenko confronted Taylor Townsend. And in case you live under a rock, this is not anything new. We've seen this in the past from Jelena Ostapenko after tough defeats, this unsportsmanlike conduct. However, was she right? Was this justified? Aryna Sabalenka would weigh in and say, overall, Jelena Ostapenko is a nice person, but she feels she struggles with some things and possibly just needs someone to speak to about them. Aryna Sabalenka would go on to say she needs to control her emotions better, but she probably feels ashamed of her actions. She probably feels sorry for what transpired. I would have to agree with Aryna Sabalenka. Now, Jelena would weigh in, and she would recently delete a tweet that she posted in terms of being called a racist. She said she's receiving a lot of messages claiming she's a racist. She says she respects all nations. And listen, guys, this is my opinion, right? I don't feel Jelena, I don't know her personally, but I don't feel she's a racist. I feel she disrespects all races equally. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think it's a race issue. When she loses, I think she needs to work on her sportsmanship, conduct herself in a professional manner, because the reality here is she's had issues with more non-black players. Just look at the list. I can't think of Taylor Townsend is probably the only player I can think of her having an issue with that's African American. Now, Coco, last time she defeated Ostapenko in New York, Coco would say that she's very cordial with Ostapenko. They always speak, they're friendly, and they're on good terms. So I don't think Jelena's a racist at all. I do think she equally discriminates on her opponents, right, in a joking matter. But Shelton would weigh in and say, look, it's self-explanatory, right? We've seen the actions of Jelena repeatedly over and over and over again. At some point, does the WTA, does the organization have to step in and fine her for this behavior after matches? I talked about handshakes. Jelena Ostapenko has the most shadiest handshake in defeat. But when she wins, it's different, right? Now, Taylor Townsend was asked, does she feel Jelena's racist? And I think she answered the question perfectly. She said, those are questions you have to ask her, and I think so. But I also think Jelena answered it honestly. She's not a racist. She respects all nations. And I would agree. But Jelena, I do feel there is some frustration that she would express. She comes from a small country and she doesn't have the ability or the luxury to play a tournament in her home country, Latvia. But I do feel overall she does get support on tour. But I feel if her actions weren't so disrespectful in defeat, I think people would support her a little bit more. She is a slam champion, and people forget that. But this is New York City, and we've seen Coco booed, not necessarily booed, but cheered on with her double faults when she faced Victoria Mboku in Canada. It happens on the road, and you can't expect this crowd to not cheer for Taylor Townsend. Right? She was big time junior, big time household name. We know who she is. She's very classy. And like she said, I feel if Jelena Ostapenko, and this is where you guys got to comment here. Do you think she has a point? Right? Taylor Townsend, she says during the warm-up, she went right into volleys. And that's, look, I watch a lot of tennis, and no, you don't normally go right into volleys. So does Taylor have a point there? It appears she's trying to state that Taylor wanted to go into her strengths, which we know she's an amazing doubles player, to kind of help get an edge. But she also stated that after that net shot, she didn't apologize, for the mistake. And look, we see it all the time. When someone gets a point, on a short ball that falls over the net. Everyone apologizes. So does Taylor Townsend, should she apologize? Is Jelena Ostapenko right for feeling that way? Did she handle it properly? Is that maybe the issue? Maybe she could have acknowledged these things to Taylor in a more respectful manner. There's two sides to every story. And a lot of times, I think that you do have to try and be neutral in some of these cases to try and find balance and justify or reasoning on why one person felt a particular way. In this matter, that would be Jelena Ostapenko. Were her actions justified? Were her feelings justified? You can't tell someone how to feel. Like, she would say to Isla Tomjanovic at Wimbledon, you can't tell me what I'm feeling. You don't know what I'm feeling. It's wrong for you to accuse me of faking an injury. Was Jelena justified? Comment below. Tennis in a minute. My personal perspective is I think that if she did have a legitimate issue with those two instances, the warm up, the short ball point, just speak to her more in a professional manner. You guys are professionals. Kids are watching you. Adults are watching you. People are looking up to you. The world's eyes are on this biggest stage of tennis. Just be a little bit more professional about it. So that's my take there. Even still, I don't think those are major issues. But then again, we can't tell Jelena how to feel. Comment below, guys.